Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of D&D Quick Shots. Today we are talking about the Iron Bands of Bilarro and how those affect playing the game. Alright, so the Iron Bands of Bilarro are a fantastic tool for monster hunting, for trying to catch a big bad evil guy, for all kinds of different things. Basically, what it is, it's a small sphere that's about a pound in weight. You can hurl at somebody. It requires Dex plus proficiency, in a D20 to see if you actually hit based on the creature or the person's armor class. Once it hits, it actually surrounds them with basically iron bands and they become restrained. Now, restrained means that other people have advantage on attacks against you and you have disadvantage on attacks. So it doesn't make them completely unable to do anything. On the same aspect of it, you also begin your movement becomes zero. So, where are these and what are they used for? The other side of things on it, forgot to mention, is that they're good for basically locking somebody down. They have to have a DC 20 strength to break out of them, and if they don't, then they can't. They automatically fail for the next 24 hours of trying to get out. But once you use them once in a day, then you can't use them again. Now, these are a rare magical item. They are great thematically for using them in a monster hunting scenario or trying to find somebody who has the means and ability to move and do things. Now, the tricky part is this: is that if there's a skill or like let's say they have Misty Step, Misty Step, they're still able to do that. Now, it's not clear in the DMG versus the written of that versus the written piece of Misty Step whether or not they'd be able to escape it. The expectation is that they would not be able to. They would actually still have that on their person because it is a magical restraint. So it would be able to teleport with that person or creature, depending on what's going on. So it's a very interesting setup. So just because you restrain them doesn't mean they can't do things. Now, would they be able to use their hands to cast a spell? Most likely not. If it's a verbal, something like that, then they probably would be able to still cast. So they still have abilities depending on what's going on. This is a great action. If you know something that's going to be probably non-magical, something that's going to be huge or smaller that may not have the ability to break a 20 DC strength check. But there are going to be certain things that are going to be iffy on it, right? So like a Balgura. Maybe not want to roll it on one of those, but something probably smaller, definitely. And it allows you to have a lot more control over the situation, being able to just capture something rather than kill. So where do I give these to a players? What do I do with these? How do I make them useful? In my opinion, these are going to come from somebody with a specific need in mind. You could just go pick these up. They are rare. If you have a magic item shop and maybe there's, known for hunting down monsters in an area or something like that, there is a possibility you'd be able to find those. In reality, though, shackles and basic things like that are going to be more commonplace because those, you already have to subdue them, then you lock them on. These actually allow you just to throw them and attach. So they have a much greater range. So I would probably give them out as part of a quest line. Hey, here's this creature that we know has been out and about. You may be able to use this. You may be able to do these, blah, blah, blah. Like hunting down a werewolf or something, right? So where you don't necessarily want to kill the creature because it's still a person, and you just need to restrain them. But you're not really willing to get up close and fight with it. That may be a very optional concept. Now, with this in mind, they are, a very, very unusual item to find out in the world. This would be one of those things that when you're talking about a rare item, let's just assume the normal size of the world, there's going to be, 50, 100 of them out there. Not extremely rare, but there's still enough. So you definitely don't want to give these out first, second, third level, something like that. Really, anything higher than that, I can see it being given out. I can definitely see a use for it. But early on, it becomes almost too powerful because they're not going to be going against anything that has a super high strength or anything like that, where they really have to, disable a whole lot of people. At those lower levels, you're going to see more often that it's going to be, our life versus theirs because we've only got 7 hit points or what have you. So in my opinion, I definitely want to see that given to 3rd level or higher in reality. And then the other side of it is that, give it to them with a use in mind. So you don't necessarily have to tell them, hey, you're going to go find a werewolf, use this at it, right? That's not necessarily a requirement. But you do want to say, okay, well, you guys are going to be hunting down this creature that is, doing this, this, and this, and we would like to study it. So we have this that you can use. Giving it to it that way is a very cool aspect, in which case it's a recovery mission at that point. And very rarely do you, as a DM, give out like recovery missions. More often, it's bring us back the head and whatever for when you're talking about big creatures. But maybe it's not the local magistrate. Maybe it's a wizard, who knows that there's a creature out there and he wants to study it. And you know what? I want these pieces and parts from it. So you definitely want to use it with recovery in mind, not necessarily killing and maiming missions. But that's the Iron Bands of Bilarro, or they used to be called the Iron Bands of Binding, depending on which edition you're playing. Definitely like and subscribe. Let me know what you used it for if you put it out in the campaign. Have a great day, guys.